And now we're green. So it's Wednesday, December 10th, 2025 at 6:30 p.m. in the Mounts View City Hall Council Chambers. We have a very full agenda, including, of course, final approval of our budget. Yay. For the record reflect that two managers are absent with prior notice, Steve Wagaman and Jess Robertson, who could be here today. But we have a quorum with the three of us, John, myself, and Marcy. So we will proceed ahead. First of all, let me open mic. Any Rice Creek Watershed District resident may address the board on his or her individual capacity for 3 minutes on any matter not on the agenda. There are on the agenda. Speakers are requested to come to the podium, state their names and address for the record. Additional comments may be solicited and accepted in writing. Generally, a board of managers will not take official action on any items discussed at the time, but may refer the matter to staff for further report or direct the matter be scheduled for the upcoming agenda. With my understanding, we have no one on the phone except for staff, and we obviously, the only two people in the audience have an item on the agenda. So we will move to setting the agenda. Mr. Tomzak, I understand we have a couple of additions.
Yes, President Bradley, we do have the noted variance application from Nancy and Keith Nars. And then subsequent to that will be the permit. So I suggest that we put that immediately following the consent agenda on permits. And we have the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust Property and Casualty Insurance Renewal invoice. I suggest that we make that a new item 6 under items requiring board action. Or staff would like to add an informational item on the Les Olstad property. So that would be a number 1 under
Excellent.
items for discussion and information.
Okay.
What property?
Les Olstad. Yep. And then President Bradley, one of the things you'll need a secretary pro tem.
Oh my goodness, that's right. Would you, John Waller, and
I volunteered to be secretary pro tem.
fabulous. We, so moved, so seconded.
Second it, yep.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Thank you, John.
My pleasure.
All right, so approval of minutes. Normally, we would rely on Ms. Robertson to do that.
Okay, Mr. Chair, I would,
Well, go
Did
ahead.
you move the agenda?
Oh, yes, okay. We've had roll call, agenda, for setting the agenda, thank you. Ever since we put this darn open mic in here, it's got me off my face.
I moved that we accept the
Yeah.
agenda as amended.
And I will second that. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, none. Okay, approval of minutes. Marcy, you said you'd do us a favor?
yes, I move the approval of the minutes, November 10th, 2025 workshop, and November 12th, 2025 regular meeting.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. Okay. Takes us, Patrick, to your consent agenda.
Yes, President Bradley, Board of Managers. On the consent agenda, we do have 3 permit applications. Happy to answer any questions you may have.
So, Patrick, I have one with regard to permit number 25-106. And in that one, I find no point of discharge chart, which I am so comfortable in seeing in each and every application, where you explain to me why we will not have more water come off this property. Why is there not one in this particular instance?
I probably have it in my email. Let's see if I can pull that up in the moment.
I'm sorry I didn't give you prior notice, I've been a little busy.
Oh, there's a lot going on. Let's see.
Manager Bradley? So I believe the reason why this one does not have that chart is because it's part of a larger development that has already been authorized, where the rate control is provided under the prior permit. And that was discussed under findings number 1 description, where they talk about the development of the mass graded under permit 19-110, and they have an existing regional pond design, provide rate control for the site.
And I'd love to get you an image of that. I'm also trying to see if I have that, but I'm not sure I'm going to get that in the moment. But it is an existing regional pond.
Yeah, and so the regional pond were designed to provide the rate control. The outlot is 8.36 acres, which allowed for, at 70% impervious surface, 5.85 acres of impervious surface. And then this project only uses 2.12 acres, so they only use less than 50% of the total that's been assumed for the regional pond.
So if I went to page 33, which is a map of this proposed project, where would I find the larger project under which this is subsumed?
Yeah.
34.
I wonder if we've got it mapped in MS4 front.
Yeah, so they have, if you're looking on 34, they do have a infiltration basin that's there that's meant for water quality control. And then if you go to the west of that, you see the development that's there to the west, and there's storm sewer that goes out to a much larger holding pond that's to the west of that development that's already built.
All right, so in fact, this would be the same, whatever that shape is, on page 33, but now you've given me the detail that shows the holding pond.
Yep.
And that's adequate to prevent any additional surge in water.
Yeah, it's designed to hold what they're providing for this project here, plus additional projects, because as you can see, there's one proposed building and impervious surface area that is within that orange blob that's on the map there, but there's part of it that is not built out right now that we assume is going to be built out in the future that'll also be using that regional pond.
Okay. Anyone else have questions on any of these projects?
I'd just also point out, so I think Chris may have mentioned it, but the site that is proposed to develop here under 25-106 was already graded as part of that 19-110, so it's already kind of set up to feature those regional ponds that were already set up.
Darcy?
And my question was, it seemed like I read in here that this was the last of the projects, but now, Chris, you said there's going to be another opportunity for another business in that same area?
Yeah, the page, oh gosh, 34 of the packet, I'm not in the packet, that's why. Page 34 of the packet does show that there's additional area that's not being developed under this permit, so there could be additional work there. But like Chris mentioned, there's a cap on the amount of impervious that can go there.
Okay, so how many more either commercial and or residential structures can be built in that whole development? There's still more.
Yeah,
There's
Yeah.
still more.
I believe
Okay.
there's still more that can be built, yes.
President Bradley, if I could add in response to Manager Wynant's question, it's not how many structures, it's how much impervious area draining to the pond. So the land use authority may have structure,
True.
setbacks and all that sort of thing, and size limitations, but we'd be looking at the runoff.
Okay.
A lot of that was, again, set forward in that 2019 permit. I'd be happy to, at the future, when I can access it, provide kind of a figure that shows the areas that were still planned to be developed but have not.
And this is the development you can see outside the window of the...
Yep,
Yes.
right out our office. Yep.
Yes, so, okay, good. All right, thank you.
Any further questions? Hearing none, I will move to condition approve pending receipt of changes. The permit applications noted is 25-099, 25-100, 25-106, in accordance with the district engineer's findings and recommendations as contained in engineer's findings and recommendations as contained in engineer's report dated December 1, 2025. Is there a second?
I'll second. Yeah, I'm gonna say, pick him.
Yeah, John?
Yeah.
No,
Seconded.
Yeah.
Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 No opposed, passes. So that brings us then to, I believe, the permit related to the,
President Bradley, you
Yep.
are correct, although in this case, it's not the permit. You'll start with the variance
okay,
consideration. If the variance is successful, then you'll consider a permit.
all right. So,
So,
turn over to Chris. for
Mr.
what?
Hughes, I think we'll
Yeah.
work with Chris on this.
Yeah, happy to do so. Board managers walking up an application and a variance request kind of last minute, but I did send over the finalized documents earlier today. I'll note that it does include your typical engineer's report from Houston Engineering. It includes the technical memo from Houston related to the variance request. That also includes the variance request form submitted by the landowners. There's a site location map and site plan in there. We also have a memo from Rinky Noonan concurring with Houston's findings on the variance request. We've also included typical procedure, a notice document to be recorded onto the property title in the instance that the board does approve the variance request, as well as a resolution to approve it. So we do have, this is property 1517 14th Avenue Northwest in New Brighton. There was an existing home, and the application is to, well, the home has been demolished now, but to demolish the home and construct a new one. The variance request comes under the floodplain alteration rule, E3F, which does require when structures are to be built within the floodplain, that there is at least 2 feet of freeboard between the lowest floor of the home and the 100-year floodplain elevation. What has been proposed by the landowners does not meet that criteria. The low floor would be 1.9 feet below our 100-year floodplain elevation. So the landowners have submitted a request, outside of that rule. Work had already started, the structure has been demolished, and so we're kind of working in an after-the-fact scenario here, which does present some challenges in trying to alter plans or whatever it might be to meet the criteria of the rule. Other things pointed out here in the technical memo do talk about challenges with the grade of the driveway for the house that's been proposed, and making that steeper would be a challenge. I don't know, if we wanted to, we could do the old procedure and go through all the criterion, which we haven't done in a while, but this wasn't in the packet, so.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
We could do that, but I don't think that's going to be
Sure.
necessary. So just so it's clear, we're actually talking about 2 feet plus 1.9 feet. So it's almost
Correct.
4 feet. 4 feet. Now that's a lot. So we want to make sure the homeowner knows that if we give variance, that you are accepting a risk that we don't think is wise. That's why we have the rule. We have the rule to protect you from yourself. What I'd like to know is, if we know, how was the previous house located? So there would be maybe a comparison and how long that previous house has been there. Might be informative.
Yeah, I do know that the previous home was constructed in the 1950s. I can look here in the moment at the existing survey to see if that does indicate. I don't know that we know that, though.
I would feel comfortable with that additional information if that's available to us.
Sure.
Chris?
Manager Bradley, I'll just for, reference, I do know that there are several structures, or I should say many structures that would be located within the 100-year floodplain on the lake, just for reference there. And again, I don't know the exact specific on the prior structure here, but I know that the adjacent structures, certainly to, the adjacent structure to the south is very close to that 100-year floodplain elevation.
I take that with some comfort, because it means that, they may swim together. And again, if I know what the prior house was, that may give me some more comfort or not.
So, Mr. President,
Yeah.
so it says construction was in 54 for the
Sure.
prior house. Currently, the federal FEMA floodplain rules that are covered by the city of New Brighton, as I understand it, allow for this structure to be built. And Rice Creek has a more stringent rule, I understand, as you explained why, to protect people from themselves, but that's why many of the homes that are around this lake that were built in the 50s would not qualify under today's ruling, but will qualify under the federal ruling and the city's ruling, because the city follows the federal. And even though the Rice Creek Watershed District often says our rule's better and such, it's kind of like Post Toasties versus Kellogg's Cornflakes, just a little bit better.
So,
But in this case, this is an example of conflicting rules, and the current application would meet the federal standard for insurance purposes and floodplain purposes.
so what Manager Waller is saying is correct, but it's half the story.
Well, I wanted to make sure that half got told.
Yeah, the other half of the story is that FEMA hires us to go out and determine what the appropriate level is, and then it takes them time to catch up with us. So we've told them, they have not yet caught up with us. When they catch up with us, then the city of Fridley will have the same standards, and we won't have this
New
difference.
Brighton,
You're right.
City of New Brighton.
Thank you.
But nevertheless, the time that takes,
Yeah.
so
Anyway,
it's
so
centuries.
we're here to solve a problem.
Problem, yeah.
We intend to solve a problem. I'm just looking for what I can put in the record to help us. Yes?
Yep. And Manager Bradley, I'll note one more thing that I think is pertinent to this one is that, our rule references the low floor elevation. And there's a reason for that we want to avoid the potential, if you do get a flood, of having long-term inundation that can work its way through the soil and get into the basement. In this case, their low floor is going to be below the 100-year flood elevation. The lowest opening of the house is above the 100-year flood elevation, so.
What you've done is you've treated the lowest floor as if it were an uninhabited garage. Is it? I mean, how do you use the basement? How will you use the basement? I'd suggest cautiously.
My name is Keith Narr, and with my wife Nancy here. As proposed right now, the lowest floor will be unfinished. The upper floor will not, but indeed, it is capable of being finished and made into a legal,
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
So what I'm telling you is that if it's where you used to have a boathouse, we wouldn't care about the boathouse because it's not inhabited.
Yeah,
So we automatically grant forgiveness for uninhabited structures.
yes.
So I'm trying to see if I can draw a corollary between your basement and an uninhabited structure. Can't really, but maybe close. Okay.
Okay, understood.
Have you figured out the height of the,
It doesn't appear on the existing survey, so I don't believe we know.
do we know if you knew what they did to change the footings, that would give you some indication.
I'm not sure that we know.
Yeah, I think generally they just go through and demo everything and restart new,
Yeah.
Okay, well,
So, Mr.
John,
President,
wanna make a
Mr.
motion?
Engineer, yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the variance.
okay.
Let me, forgive me for a moment while I find my place. Is resolution 2015-13?
I think we have someone who would like to speak.
Oh, I'm
I
sorry.
just wanted to say I retired from Post Consumer Brands.
I'm sorry.
I retired from Post Cereal. So when you said that, I thought this is, it's a sign. Anyway, I just wanted to say that, and thank you.
Oh,
Busted.
I'm sorry.
No, that's
I did
fast.
was not aware of your connection.
No, it was,
I
you
just-
did, what your comment was correct.
Most toasties are better.
Yeah, Post Toasties are
That's what
better.
she's saying.
Yeah, well, not if you're a Kellogg's person, I guess, but anyways,
Manager Bradley?
Yes.
Before Manager Waller reads his or makes a motion, Mr. Cole, maybe you can, previously, we haven't had resolutions. Maybe you'd like to explain that to the board.
I think it's good practice anytime you're departing from the ordinary context of your rule, and by granting a variance, you're actually giving that property a free pass that carries with the property going forward into the future. And so we like to see this done with findings in an order, so we've developed a resolution. The resolution refers back to the analysis performed by the engineer. The engineer, while they didn't make a recommendation, they did note a few things. One is that there have been variances given for similar circumstances in the past. I think they highlighted the very issue that Mr. Otterness highlighted, that the low opening is yet higher, still higher than that flood elevation, and so the only risk is that seepage. And in this instance, in this particular order, we are asking that the landowners acknowledge that they are taking that risk voluntarily by recording an instrument on the property reflecting the variance as granted. So just doing a little bit different than you have in the past, but I think that's why there's a little bit more formality here than just voting to grant the variance.
yeah, here it is. Okay.
And, Mr. Chair?
Yes.
I just want to be clear here also that this structure does not impact negatively the resource of concern, which is Long Lake.
All of which our staff has dutifully
Yes.
set forth in resolution number 2015-13.
So, Mr. President, I'll move resolution 2015-13, Rice Creek Watershed District Board of Managers Resolution issuing variance pursuant to RCWD Rule L, NARR Lot 12, Auditor Subdivision Number 79, Ramsey County. And therefore, be it resolved by the Rice Creek Watershed Board of Managers that A, the Rice Creek Board of Managers approves the request for variance under permit 25-115 for the property. B, the approval is conditioned upon the owners must record a notice substantially in the form appended hereto, identifying the variance and the details of the variance. The notice must be recorded with the Ramsey County Recorder and Register of Titles. Filing costs to be borne by the owners. The notice will be unlimited in duration without being recorded. And C, that if the owners refuse to record the notice as required, the board authorizes the preparation and execution of a similar notice to be recorded by the district.
You understand what we're asking for? Basically, we want to make sure that when it comes time for you to sell your property or be sold at some point, that whoever's buying it knows and takes the same risk you're willing to take.
We do, yes.
Okay.
President Bradley?
Yeah.
I was just going to share something ahead of you calling the question. I wanted to just reflect on staff's actions.
Sure.
Within the, respectfully to the applicant's submittal, it's identified that this situation, the owners and the builder were unaware of Rice Creek Watershed District objections until 11/20, when the district records reflect that our communication came in October 30th. So staff had seen the work and
Whole month earlier, we told
The-
the contractor.
correct. I think Patrick could add any clarification, but we did inform them that they were in violation of the rules at that time.
The contractor apparently did not tell the owners.
something to that effect. Patrick,
So
maybe
we
you
have
can.
some views on that too.
Yeah.
Correct.
Mr. President, is there a second?
I will second that, and then I have, after Patrick speaks, I have a question
Yeah.
or comment.
Yeah, not much further to add. The initial contact to Rice Creek was made through our website, and it was from the contractor, and that's who we had been working with. We didn't have contact with the landowner specifically until I think December 1st is when you gave me a call. So that's who we were working with, and yeah, challenges arose there.
What was your question?
Well, my comment was, I did drive by the property today, and there is a structure being built a couple of houses down. And as I understand it, staff is out there doing the inspections, which they're supposed to be doing.
Mhm.
And was it Ally that noted what else was going on and called attention to it? So compliments to the staff for being so aware of what's happening in the watershed.
Any other further discussion, comments?
I don't-
Roll call.
Okay. Only mention, Mr. President, that I don't know that there's been any long history of flooding in that lake for those homes there over the years that have been built.
President Bradley,
Yeah?
noting this has become a subject of discussion recently. Chris, the discussions we've had about the district model and district model being the best available information and how individuals use that, whether it be the federal government to set its standard or utilize it or not, they can be different, as Manager Waller pointed out. But Chris, I found it interesting, the reason that the model reflects this potential or likely flooding condition that had to do with the downstream condition and the trusses of a bridge. And when the flood, I'll let you take it from there if the chair
10-day
allows.
snow melt event.
Well,
Go
a
ahead.
little bit more than that.
Yeah, you're correct, though. We have not seen an event yet in the district, in our recorded history, in the last 80 years, where we've had a 7-inch rainfall or a 7-inch snowmelt runoff event district-wide. So that's one of the reasons we just haven't seen that amount, but that's what the prediction is for a 1% frequency event. So it might not happen for another 100 years, or it might happen next spring. Yeah. That said, when you do get that large of event, that amount of flow will, toward the upper end of that kind of volume, run up into the bottom side of the bridge downstream at Long Lake Road. And so at that point, then your capacity downstream is maximized. There's no more capacity, and then the lake bounces. And we've modeled that effect that there's going to be a rapid bounce of the lake once you reach that capacity at Long Lake Road, and also downstream at Mississippi Street. There are 2 box culverts where you're going to also create a hydraulic jump at that time. And then once that happens, it's like about a 2 or 3 foot, bump up.
So there's also discussion that between Atlas 14 and Atlas 15, that 15 hasn't been approved yet, and using the Atlas 14 and a half or whatever. I mean,
And
when that happens, of course, the issue is climate change.
yes, they're predicting greater rainfalls, and to the district's credit, we've already done modeling of that future conditions scenario where we're looking at larger rainfall events, so we'd call a 500-year event. And so we do have that model, and that shows these kind of flood elevations for both the runoff and the rainfall events at that time. So potential greater risk into the future if the climate change models are accurate.
So we're in the business that says, what hasn't happened today doesn't mean it isn't gonna happen.
Correct.
So that's it, that's all. So with that, I think I'm gonna do a roll call, all right? Bradley says yes, Robertson's absent, Wagman's absent, Waller,
Yes.
Winans.
Yes.
You passed, 3-0. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Thanks
have
for all
the
your
variance.
efforts, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Well, we're
Work with
going
our
to-
staff to get you through, no, now we're gonna have to go back to your permit.
Mr. President?
Oh,
We will provide you with a draft of that notice. We have that drafted already, and you're free to bring it by your own attorney and have them look at it or modify it, just let us know once something gets recorded.
We will.
So you have nothing to fear until Lake Agassiz returns.
Yeah.
So do you have a permit number?
25-115.
And if we get a copy of that one, or is that just?
It's the engineer's report that's the,
Here?
Oh, okay.
It's right on top.
No, I have read it.
2025, Mr. Chair, I would move approval of permit number 25-115.
Cap Rock, you want to do Cap Rock?
Oh, should I take it right?
Cap Rock.
Yes, permit application be given conditional approval pending receipt of changes, caprock, and outstanding items related to the following. And how do you say that?
I think I saw it.
Yeah.
And I'll second that.
Okay,
Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None? Now I have a permit.
variance and permit. Welcome to the watershed.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're welcome to stay around. You're welcome to go home, whenever you want.
Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, we can do that.
This takes us now,
President Bradley,
you,
next item on the agenda is your 2026 Truth in Taxation. Yes. As you likely know, this is an opportunity before the change of the year here for the district to meet its statutory obligation and allow the public to comment on your budget and levy.
we just lost a couple.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think we've had enough discussion on this, so I'm prepared and will move to affirm Resolution 2025-08 to adopt the proposed 2026 budget and direct certification of the 2026 tax levy, having held an opportunity for the public to comment on the budget and the levy after the tax notices were received.
John, would you care to
Second. Yes.
Yeah.
Second.
Any discussion? None. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0. As it must necessarily.
President
Is
Bradley.
there anything more on that too?
Nope, that'll do that one. President Bradley, next on your agenda is an Oak Kind Ditch 5362, branches 5 and 6. This is your repair bid approval. Tom is here to address the item.
Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Mr. President, Nick, Board of Managers. You're being asked to consider awarding a construction contract based on the bids that were received for the repair of branches 5 and 6 of Anoka County 5362. Staff recommends that the Board of Managers adopt the resolution provided awarding the base bid contract to the Apex Drainage at a price of $219,014.
Although we just, it's 219,000.
Sorry,
It's okay.
219.
Yep. All right.
Chris can go over his recommendation memo if you'd like.
Sure, I could go over it real quickly here. Recall that we set this up to have a base bid and an alternative bid. The base bid is for the bulk majority of the work that was proposed by us. The bid alternative was just for the upstream end of the branch 5 lateral 2, which serves to drain the area that is by the airport there upstream. We set it up as an alternative bid because we were having challenges in getting a hold of the Metropolitan Airport Commission in order to gain access to the property. We've had actually coordinated with them in the past in order to a rear plant survey through that area as required through our dialogue with the DNR. But since then, and noting that we needed to be able to actually access through a fence that they had in there in order to be able to clean out that portion of the ditch, we simply, at the time of the bid, hadn't had that dialogue with them. I'll just note since then, we have been able to communicate with them, and they expressed their I guess, uncertainty or concern about allowing access in there due to the potential of unwarranted people or animals from accessing through a gate that we'd be proposing to place there. So we're still uncertain or doubtful that we're going to be able to attain the access that we need to in order to do that work. That work is not necessary for the success of the rest of the project. It really only serves to provide an incremental change in the or restoration of the drainage at that area that's mostly draining the Airport Commission property. So given that we do not recommend approving a contract that includes alternative bid 1, if for some reason we were able to get permission at a later date, then we would come back to the board to seek approval for a change order to add that work back in. But at this time, we are recommending the base bid amount to Apex Drainage. They came in well under our engineer's estimate, approximately half the cost of our engineer's estimate. We have worked with them in one of our other offices on a project, and they completed that work sufficiently. And we've also inquired with other references that they provided, and they indicated enough prior experience where we have comfort with their ability to take on this project. So again, we recommend awarding that contract to them in an amount of $219,014. And
Chris, I'm trying to figure out where this particular airport is located.
Yeah, and why it would be, this is 50,
yeah, this is on
53,
on the edge of Blaine. I think it's the Anoka. What do they call that?
Yes,
But
Mr.
how-
President.
County Airport.
Sinoka
County.
Blaine County Airport off of Radisson Road.
but this is 5 and 6 that we've been talking about, right?
Yes.
That-
Mhm.
And we need access through the airport?
They own property on either side of the road. The side we'd be working on where the ditch is, it basically is an open marsh area.
Yeah.
But they own the property, they have a fence on there,
Okay.
and they're not interested in providing that access right now.
Mr. Chair, also, it's 22 bids? A lot, a little?
Well,
What does
we-
that say? What does that tell me?
We actually ended up with 8 bids, but we had 22 people that attended the pre-bid meeting.
Okay.
In either case, it's a lot. I was quite honestly surprised that we would get that much interest in this one. So it's good news. It means that there are people locally that are hungry, although if you note, there are some bids that were very high on this
Yeah.
too, and
Yeah.
sometimes people just take a waiver to see if something like that can stick.
Okay.
Mr. President, I'll move the resolution 2025-11, Race Creek Watershed Board of Managers, resolution awarding a contract for the repair of Anoka County Ditch 5362, branches 5 and 6. Therefore, it will be resolved by the Race Creek Watershed District Board of Managers that A, the contract for repair of Anoka County Ditch 5362, branches 5 and 6 repair, base bid contract is awarded to Apex Drainage LLC for the contract price of $219,014. B, the board authorizes the inclusion of 30% contingency, $65,704.20 in the project to cover the unanticipated costs or work requirements resulting from unforeseen conditions or omissions discovered as the project progresses. The contingent funds will be paid against the valid change orders to the contract. C, the district administrator shall sign and transmit notice of award, sign the construction agreement, and issue notice to proceed on the advice of council and the district's engineer when prerequisites for insurance and bonding have been met by the contractor. D, the district administrator may sign task/change orders, increasing the contract price an aggregated net amount not to exceed 10% of the contract price, or $21,901.40. Any change orders in excess of that amount must be approved by the board.
With that, I will second that. Any discussion? Roll call, Bradley, yes. Robertson is absent. Wagman is absent. Waller,
Yes.
Wynant,
Yes.
passes 3-0.
Thank you.
President Bradley,
Yeah.
Board of Managers, next on your agenda is Houston and,
I just,
Oh, I'm
we
sorry.
just have a little, I'm troubled by this airport, just saying,
Okay, well,
Go away.
the airport, remember where we were talking about a year ago where the piece of property that's out in the lane that
Yeah,
they needed
I
an
can-
exemption for, and we went out to take a look at it, and they came to us and said, the staff said, we want you to deny the permit and all that jazz.
We have the,
We went through all that.
yeah.
This is the next lot over or so. It's right in the same area.
It's
So-
not contingent, it's not in the airport itself.
I didn't like it.
The airport is on one side of the street, and the airport owns the
Yeah.
property on the other side of the
We'll
street.
do the,
we're gonna,
Oh,
I think we're gonna have a share screen here of the location, if they can,
okay.
there it is.
Yeah.
It's a case for the owner.
I think you need to back all the way up
Zoom
to,
out,
like where
sure.
the district office is, would be helpful.
District office. Is the cursor over here? I should turn off some layers.
See the cursor?
It's not that far away.
right
No,
here.
it's not.
Yeah, and then the airport's down here.
Yeah, the end of the ditch there, right there, yeah.
It's the very edge.
Yes,
Here's the airport, here's 35, Highway 10, this is the airport, here comes our ditch. And so our work is on this system, but the property owner is, we're reluctant,
Reluctant.
hesitant for our, to enter their property. They're federally regulated, et cetera. And I think I heard Chris say the success of the project is in hinge on the cleaning of this ditch on that property.
Correct.
oh, the airport is, sure, okay, that makes sense. So
the
where
air-
is the parking lot or that parking ride?
That's on
Right.
Oh, it's just right there, yeah.
Ah.
So where's the outlet? Is the outlet by the airport or the
No.
other item?
Way up.
Okay. So is that the head of the system?
This is Metro
Okay.
shooting.
Yeah, we're not today. Metro shooting, then you've got to go up the map a little farther yet to get to the outlet, which
Yeah.
is, goes under 35.
Mr. President,
Yeah.
it's at the very upstream end of the
Okay.
5 and
So
6.
if the very upstream end wants to keep its feet wet, I guess we don't much care, do we?
It might be a suggestion to the owner, especially if this portion of the drainage system doesn't affect any other properties, that they just petition us for partial abandonment, and then they don't ever have to worry about it again.
Yeah. Thank you, John.
It also is another reason for, isn't it Coon Creek that has wants the changes in the rules and such about the endangered species plants? They had some resolutions that
Yep.
were at the convention last week, so this is this is an example, I guess, that.
Well, I guess since they're not harming us, we can move on.
Yeah, I think it's, President Bradley, appropriate that the district just make sure we have that documentation in the file, that when we were present to do the work, they said,
Go
please
away.
don't.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Would it be appropriate then, Mr. President, for us to ask them to abandon that portion of the ditch? Or is it inappropriate for us to suggest it to them?
It's perfectly appropriate for us to suggest it to them, especially since they're hesitant to allow us to access the ditch to do maintenance.
I like the move of it, because then if they have to go,
Yep, it's not our, it's in, the ball's in their court.
I think, should we make a motion to authorize the administrator to approach the airport to advise them that we would entertain a motion to abandon that portion of the creek,
if they would send us a letter authorizing that.
Oh,
Is that about?
That sounds like a motion to me, Mr. President.
Yeah, okay. I second that, Mr. President. I just want to ask a clarification. Does we need to tell the administrator to take along the
Able?
the firepower, the lawyers and the engineers in that letter, or is there anything they contributed, or is that later?
I would say that's dependent on the landowner's response. If they need additional information to contemplate the ask, we can certainly provide it.
But I'm all in favor of you asking them. Yep.
I'll march right over there.
All right.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Passes 3-0.
All right.
That was a good suggestion, John, thank you.
President Bradley,
Yes,
next on the agenda is your third item requiring board action. That is the Houston Engineering Jones Lake Environmental Assessment Worksheet Task Order, and David's going to speak to that this evening.
President Bradley, Board of Managers, thank you. Yes, Houston Engineering has prepared for us a environmental assessment worksheet for the Jones Lake project. Of course, Jones Lake is in New Brighton, and generally with the project, we are looking to modify the lake's outlet, construct a sediment forebay, dredge sediment from within and adjacent to the basin, and restore habitat within and around the basin. Because the impacts within the public waters are expected to exceed 1 acre, an environmental assessment worksheet is required. The responsible government unit for this project could either be the district or the DNR. And so we have had coordination with the DNR on this matter, which has been outlined in the memo. And generally it's been agreed upon that the district should be the RGU for this project because we have several permit requirements related to this project. We are the project initiator. We have a similar project with Hanson, and there will be other opportunities for DNR to comment on the environmental concerns through its public water permitting process. Houston has prepared the document. I believe the first 62 pages or so was included in your packet. With all the attachments, it's 160 some pages, which was available on the website. And if there are any questions, we can certainly answer them for you. So what I'm asking for at this point now is for you to authorize the EAW to be published on the Environmental Quality Board's monitor, which will begin the 30-day comment period. After the comment period, the information provided through this process will be used by various regulatory agencies in their review process as they're determining permits.
Mr. President, I'll move the approval of the EAW for the Jones Lake Outlet Modification, dredging, what a nice word,
and I'll second that.
and restoration project to be published to the EQB Monitor.
so that's, I'm gonna vote yes, obviously. I'm kind of just curious, Chris, because I actually sort of read this.
Mhm.
There are massive portions of this thing which look like a cut and paste. Does the worksheet itself come with table 17, for example, already? So, and then it just, you have to find buried in here the paragraph where you say, oh, by the way, of all this information, the only thing that's relevant is a blinding turtle and a bumblebee, rusty bumblebee.
It's on page 127,
I'm
Chris.
just kind of, no, I'm just picking as an example, not,
Yeah,
there's pages and pages of the format. I'm assuming that comes to you already filled in on the worksheet.
Yeah, Mr. President, yeah, there's certainly a large amount of data in here that is, I guess I'd say required data that we need to have in there where we can, it's kind of like a funnel. We start off with the larger broad area of these are the potential things that could be in here, and then narrow it down to, like with the example of table 17, the amount of sightings that are in the area is actually narrowed down to something less than that. And so I think that's how a lot of these are, is it starts off being this is the broad area where we're required to look, and then once we look at that broad area, the actual potential for impacts is something much narrower because of the site limitations.
Well, I'm glad to find out, I hope I found out, that you did not in fact have to fill in 10 pages of wells.
Well, that's available to the Department of Health.
Yeah.
It came to you.
Yeah, there's a lot of information that is publicly available. Sometimes it might require a little bit of reformatting, but a lot of that ends up being cut and paste. That said, it's still a task to put together this much of a large of a document and do the due diligence that's required.
Well, as far as I could tell, you can actually, if you work at it, you can start at the beginning and draw a line all the way to the back. Wow, so good job, thank you. So all in favor, say
I
aye.
have some,
Go
I have
ahead.
some questions,
Yep, yep,
yes.
yep.
Okay, was this funded through the PCA grant, this actual work that Houston did?
Yes.
Okay, and
Yeah,
there's,
so this is being funded through MPCA grant through task order 2512, which has
Yes.
already been approved.
okay, which staff person did you use, or this is a joint effort?
Well, it's primarily done by Christina Trainer.
Okay.
She joined us, I suppose, a little over a year and a half ago, something like that. And so she's kind of our lead environmental regulatory person in our office.
Good. When we sign this, and actually who signs it, does the 30 days start at time of our signature or once it's delivered?
So it gets published on Tuesdays at noon, I believe.
Okay,
And so they're due at 4 p.m. on Tuesdays for the week previous. And so this would be issued on the 23rd of December.
all right.
And so it would start
Just
30 days from
after Christmas.
December
Yeah.
30. Yeah, December 23rd.
Okay.
And how many EAWs or EISs has the Watershed done? Are these is this out of the ordinary or
Yeah,
pretty
it's
much
infrequent
infrequent?
occurrence, but
Yeah.
it is part of the public protocols that exist, and the monitor, all or a good portion of our staff receive the monitor. We see all kinds of developments or projects that are being proposed that have triggered these thresholds and need to go through. When those cases arise and they're within Rice Creek, then we comment accordingly or review material, just like you're approving here.
And then the other comment I would have is, I was amazed at how many wells are within
10 pages.
a mile of this place.
Yeah.
I was,
President Bradley,
Yeah.
Yes,
if there was a second, it's not clear to me who it was.
Manager Wang.
Oh,
I thought.
Yes, she seconded.
Was she Marcy? Okay, Marcy did. Yep. There you
So-
go, doesn't matter.
and who signs it?
I think that an EAW is the lesser of the
Yes,
Oh,
please.
yeah.
of the
Oh,
two
yes.
agreements,
Oh, yeah.
or processes,
Yeah.
I should say, as I remember the other one, which escapes me for what this.
EIS.
For EIS.
EIS,
And so that-
environmental impact statement.
Mhm.
That could
That-
still be.
That one's, an encyclopedic
Mhm.
compared
Yes.
to this.
And so an option, a finding of the EAW could be that an EIS is required.
Required.
So hopefully the
Let us
finding
pray.
of this is that an EIS is not required.
If
Yeah.
this report is as full and accurate as it appears to be, that's not gonna happen.
Correct.
Well, it depends on, how much impact is, but, yes.
President Bradley, for clarity in the record and the hope that this doesn't get more complicated than need be, would you please amend the motion to authorize signature to someone? Either the administrator,
Who would you like to sign
the
it?
administrator.
Okay.
So the motion has been amended to include the signage by the administrator.
Correct, I
And
amend.
I'll accept that.
Yep.
Yes.
The friendly amendment.
All right,
All right.
are we ready then?
I think we are.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Nay. Any opposed? Move on. Leave it, thank you.
Thank you.
President Bradley?
December 23rd, man.
Yeah.
Have a party, Christmas.
President Bradley?
Yeah.
On the next day, December 24th, we'll look to issue our check register, and on page 140 of the packet is a resolution authorizing the treasurer for the approval of that register, not to exceed $400,000 in operating expenses and $150,000 in surety returns, because the district does not hold a second meeting in this month.
Any questions of either Nick or our treasurer? If not, we'll do a roll call. Bradley, yes. Robertson, Abbott.
Motion.
It's a resolution.
It's a resolution, so I
We
don't
need
think we do a motion.
Oh, I
we
did
need
not know.
somebody to offer the
Offer the,
resolution.
I am offering the following resolution, which
Okay.
is resolution 2025-12, authorization for payments of December 2025 check register. Therefore be resolved that the Board of Managers authorize the district treasurer to review and approve payment of the December 2025 check register, amount not to exceed $400,000 for operating expenses and $150,000 surety returns, as previously read by Nick Thompson. So with.
I'll second that.
All right. Bradley, yes. Robertson, absent. Wagman, absent. Waller,
Yes.
Wyman,
Yes,
passes 3-0.
okay. As long as we're talking money.
Yes,
Mr.
check
Chair, I would move to accept the check register dated December 10th, 2025 in the amount of $113,180.72 prepared by Redpath and Company.
Second that. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 President Bradley,
Yep.
we have two other agenda items ahead of what you just
I'll
did,
go
if we
back up
could.
now.
Okay.
One is of extreme importance, that's the
Oh, yes.
administrator's salary.
Sorry.
Oh, yes.
And the second
Oh,
one will
yes.
be the insurance trust invoice.
Oh, yeah, because we were talking money, right? Okay,
So, let's see.
so
Marcy, you care to make a motion?
I would like to make a motion. I move that we increase the administrator's salary for 2026 by 5%, adding an additional $7,000 to the current salary for a total of, do this quick, $156,343.
I don't think so.
I'm not 50,
That was a
146,300.
good attempt, but.
Yes, yes.
Let's get this right, folks.
Yeah.
So Marcy,
What's the number
so then we
again,
can
please?
Marcy-
What is the final number?
156.
343.
No, 146, right?
Yeah.
146, 343. Right. And that's the number I second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 I'm opposed.
No, so it passes 2-1. We did have a full discussion of this at a workshop, and
We did.
Manager Robertson, who's not here, had an alternative, but she also made it clear that she was not opposed to a 5% increase. She neither supported nor opposed it. So that's where we are.
President Bradley?
Yep.
Next item on your agenda is the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust and Property and Casualty Insurance Renewal Invoice. That was handed out to you at the dais here. Basically, annually, the district pays its insurance premium to the League of Minnesota Cities. We've had a, what was it, 4.98% increase in the premium amount over 2025. Attached to the memo, you'll see the invoice document showing last year's payment and the league receiving it, identifying the new one, and on the back page, you'll see all of the district's property that exists and its employees. The staff do go through these materials with the league itself, our agent, to make sure we're covering everything. This would be our sand filters, our sensors that are out in the public. They're all covered in some way, shape, or form under the policy.
So, Mr. President, I'd make the move, but I'm going to ask a question
Sure.
first about the wording. Should we put some language in there about this have to be signed by the administrator?
No,
Okay, all right.
thank you.
I move that the approval of the payment of the League of Minnesota Cities Insurance Trust 2026 insurance premium invoice in the amount of $27,505.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right.
Any opposed? Passes 3-0.
President Bradley,
Yes.
we are now moving on to our items for discussion and information. Now we will hear the informational item on the Les Bolstead property, which has recently been, what's the term, released for sale. It's public property. David's gonna cover this, give us an update.
Are we buying it?
What-
You're not.
It's in the district, so we're interested in what happens here.
I don't play golf.
Well, there's more, is this tax title properties being sold or what?
So I'll go over that for you. So it is University of Minnesota property.
Oh, that.
That has been surplused, or they are in the process of surplusing it. And so,
Talking about
let's
the golf.
see.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
Back on June 6th of 2025, the city of Falcon Heights was notified that the University of Minnesota wanted to pursue the sale of the property, and they were going to do that through an RFP process. So the city and the university worked together to draft the RFP, and they developed a visioning committee to develop kind of what they wanted to have for a buyer, what they wanted a buyer to look like kind of for this property. On September 16th, they did have a community open house. Nick and I both attended that open house. It was a pretty well-attended meeting, and they had poster boards across the room, and you could put stickers on different values that you had for what you wanted for the property. On October 15th, that RFP was released to the public and published on the university's website. So here's a map from the of the sale. So they'd like to sell 140 acres. The picture on the left here, the driving range, this section right here, could be negotiated out of the sale if both parties are interested in that. And so that's kind of an alternative sale on that. This is north and south of Larpenteur Street, or Larpenteur Avenue. So as I mentioned, they did develop a visioning committee, and a couple of the priorities for the site are green space, connectivity, sustainability, mix of housing. They want the community to be self-sustaining and have some sort of commercial use. In 2024, before they announced the sale of the property, the city did go through a Snelling and Larpenteur corridor development study. And this figure is kind of an extrapolation of the land use block plan that they saw could be used in a redevelopment of this property. So again, not expecting you to be able to see what this looks like, but this is extremely preliminary, extremely generalized, and not really prescribing to a developer to develop a property that looks like this, but saying this is what it could look like. So
is all of this in Rice Creek, or do we share this?
No, this
so
is
we're
where
getting
it
to
gets
that.
good.
So what's the big deal with this? The reason why we care about this property is because it's the intersection of 3 different cities. To the north is Roseville, to the west is Lauderdale, and it's actually in Falcon Heights. There's 3 different watershed districts that all intersect at this point. On this figure, so the legal boundary of Rice Creek is the purple line. And so this would be Capital Region, and this would be Rice Creek. The hydrologic boundary is the green line. And then there's also some kind of interesting things that happen within the property. So there's most of the water on the property naturally drains west to MWMO. During high flow conditions, most of that water gets pumped up to Walsh Lake, which is in Rice Creek. Through a variety of other pumping mechanisms, it goes up through RCD 2, 3, and 5, and ends up through Jones Lake and up to Long Lake. The water that is south of that green line goes down to Seminary Pond, which is identified there in Capital Region, and they just did a huge water treatment and storage project there, mitigating a lot of the flooding issues that they have in that area. And so, because there's 3 different watershed districts, all receiving water, all with limited stormwater capacity, and straddling the regulatory or legal boundaries and potentially shifting the different watershed districts as this property gets redeveloped, we thought it would be wise to have a discussion with all the different parties involved to talk about some of these stormwater considerations, regulatory considerations, and look for opportunities for collaboration.
Mr. President. David, you say all the parties involved. Would you give me a list of who we're talking about right now?
Yep, so the University of Minnesota, Falcon Heights, Roseville, Lauderdale, Capital Region, Mississippi, WMO, Rice Creek, and Houston are there. So the watershed districts, the cities, Houston Engineering as our district engineer.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, the watershed districts, the cities, and the university.
Yeah.
So we met in Falcon Heights City Hall and had probably about an hour discussion, just kind of open discussion. It was very intentional that Rice Creek was not leading the discussion. We facilitated it, but it was meant to be an open dialogue between the folks in the room. The outcome of that discussion was the university asked us to prepare a technical memo to include in the RFP as a addendum to go out to the potential bidders that identifies the discussion basically that we had about the stormwater considerations and regulatory implications. So Houston drafted the technical memo along with BAR. BAR works with Capital Region quite frequently. Capital Region doesn't have a district engineer, but handles a lot of their modeling. And so that was a joint memo in partnership between Houston and BAR. And then Capital Region and Rice Creek wrote a joint cover letter that introduced that technical memo. And together that was submitted and released as an addendum to the RFP.
Mississippi was left out because they're just receiving the water rather than.
They rarely receive some of the water, but there was contact information for Nancy Stowe. So she handles most of their modeling. And so there is a paragraph in there about some of the water does go there. Here's the information for that. And so this technical memo does highlight what information is available and the process for receiving the district model, for instance. It doesn't give them the model, but it says, talk to Houston, there's a license agreement, you can figure out how to do that, but know that this exists if you are interested in pursuing that information.
Based on the discussion of their administrator at the conference, I'd be really surprised if they wanted to jump into this one.
MWMO?
Yeah.
I don't personally know them.
So, Mr. President, David, what did the city engineers have to say? Were they contributing anything to this, or?
So, the city engineer of Roseville is pretty much who does all the city engineer. I'm not sure how technically that works. If the city engineer, basically Roseville does all the engineering for Falcon Heights. And so,
Okay, so
they were in the room, and yeah, they know that they really rely on the pumping system up through Walsh Lake and getting water into RCD 2, 3, and 5. And so they, there was discussion about that system being stressed. If that system goes down, what does that look like? And they know the areas that flood when if that pump does go down. And so immediately the discussion was, okay, I mean, can we send water, instead of pumping it up to RCD 2, 3, and 5, can we send it back south? And that was quickly a no-go from Capital Region. The water going under the interstate, I think, is the limiting factor going west to MWMO.
So forgive me, David. So were there contributions in the memo? When Roseville talks about this pumping system, is that in the memo itself?
How the system works, or where the water generally flows, yes.
Then, yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Chris knew that before. Yeah, it's included in the modeling.
The
but yeah.
cities were invited to the meeting, so I was wondering what their concerns were and were there concerns in the memo.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, Mr. President, just to add a little more context to that, this area kind of reminds me a little bit of Anook County Ditch 55 over in Lino Lakes, where we refer to the straw, where the existing drainage system kind of limited the capacity that can get out from the system. This is similar to that, where there's a straw essentially that allows water to go from that Walsh Lake and from this property across the MnDOT right-of-way into Mississippi WMO. And so in that way, Mississippi WMO, they aren't at risk for getting any more volume, but they do have water quality concerns, and they could potentially be a partner in trying to do achieve water quality or better water quality on this site. But for both Capital Regions and for Rice Creek, volume is a big concern here, and a big opportunity here, in that if somebody that's redeveloping this area can get a handle on volume, that would be of great interest to us, to the city of Roseville, to reduce that amount that has to be pumped into Rice Creek, and then it has to be dealt with by us once it goes north.
So a stormwater pump.
It probably is looking at,
A lake,
Yeah.
it could
A water
be,
feature.
a water feature.
it could be reuse, it could be infiltration, it could be a number of different things. And just looking on the site, there are potential opportunities here. It's just gonna be being creative.
And for instance, Rice Creek regulatory requirements for redevelopment in this area does have the 20% reduction from current runoff values compared to the current use of a golf course, and assuming you're turning it into
Surface.
impervious. And so that's going to be a tall order, and so we wanted to make sure that anybody that was potentially buying this property was well aware of that before buying it, so that they knew what they were getting into, and hopefully are reaching out to us early on to be able to have those discussions of what can be done on the property.
Cap Region has made their name on reuse.
Mhm.
So have we.
Well,
So do you have some more
that's
slides?
correct, Mr. Administrator, we did it first. But that's the only thing we did.
This is the last
Oh,
one.
there you go, yes.
So
Other things are.
the cutoff date for questions was November 13th. The close date for bids is December 18th, so coming up soon. So just moving forward, just looking to have continued coordination and collaboration between the university, the city, and the watershed districts, and then hopefully the selected buyer whenever that happens to be. So I just wanted to make sure that you all knew about that happening. It is in the staff reports that's been conversations that we've been having, and you may be hearing about it in the news, and just wanted to give you a heads up.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
David, could you go back to the map? Because you said there's the political boundaries and the actual watershed boundaries. I thought we redid our boundaries.
The jurisdictional boundary
Yes?
is based on parcel boundary. Within a given parcel, there's a hydrologic boundary.
Oh,
Typically, if there's 50% or more going one direction or the other, that defines which way the parcel lies and thus the jurisdictional boundary. Unless, when we're doing these boundaries discussion, the parties involved have some unrecognizable reason that they'd like to share for an alternative to that.
So how big are the parcels?
The red is the parcel, I believe.
Okay, we're talking, wow.
Yeah.
It's over 100 acres, isn't it? 160,
Yeah, 100, I think 140 overall.
140?
Yeah, part of
So
it's out.
this has been.
124 on that north
Paper,
section.
this refers to this as an opportunity equivalent to the forward plans and equivalent to TCAP
Yes.
in terms of things we could do well with this.
So, Mr. President, to David, it's important that, so for me to understand here that this is really the top end of the high, the beginning of the watershed that we call 2, 3, 5, and 4, along 35W that goes down to 694.
Yes.
Okay. We haven't quite got that far on we're in the Jones Lake, which is kind of the middle part right now, and we've done the lower part. We're working our way upstream, I reckon.
Yeah. So a lot of opportunity to keep an eye on.
Do we have any idea who the possible bidders are, or sort of scope?
No, there was there was an optional pre-bid meeting. I didn't get the sign-in sheet from that, but it was optional anyway, so.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Simply a informational item. Yeah, well, it's complicated, and we wanted you to hear it from us first. There's a lot
So
to,
this is where you'd be thankful that you're not the land use guys.
yeah,
I mean, that's what's,
there's plenty on the water side,
water side, but that's where we help accomplish
yes.
land use side.
As Mr. Cole mentioned to me, we are the how it gets done, not the what. Yeah,
That John is so slender.
yes, he is. President Bradley,
Yeah.
I think we'll move on to staff reports if it's okay with you.
Yeah. Anything specific anyone wants to say about the staff reports?
Well, as always, they're
Yeah.
interesting and busy.
Chris, anything you want to tell us about your engineers, updates and timelines?
Mr. President, I'll just note one item for interest. Anoka Ramsey JD1 repair report. We've started our survey out there. We've probably gotten about maybe 80% done. With the snow, it hasn't made it overly fun, and we've had a couple times where we've broken through ice up to our knees to get the survey completed. So we're working at it, but we're finding interesting stuff, and there'll be more later.
And Adam is the manager on that one?
Yeah, Adam is the manager.
And he just got an award.
Yes.
Yes, I saw on Facebook.
Yeah, he won the top speaker award at the Floodplain Managers Conference. It's the third time he's actually won that one.
Oh,
No,
So that's reports allegedly due the end of December, if I remember correctly. Your report on that? I misunderstand. Which project is this that you broke through?
ARJD1 I'm talking about. That one,
Okay.
it's
Sorry.
due in
I
June.
thought I was thinking of the plot, but you
Yeah, no.
the Halls Marsh. Okay, sorry. All right.
President Bradley,
Yep.
I do have a number of administrator updates.
Anything on the calendar first? No? To go? If not, we'll move on. Updates.
Anything on the calendar to note? Nope. Other than it's nearing the end here of the year, and got our calendars put together for 2026.
Okay.
Be good to note at this public meeting here where we have video that Bowser announced the 2025 Outstanding Watershed Organization Employee, and that was our very own Kendra Sommerfeld, our Communication and Outreach Coordinator. So congratulations to her.
all right.
Anoka County, moving on, Anoka County Ditch 102232, we have an update that Tom can offer you on our work there.
Thank you, Nick. Mr. President, Board of Managers, staff, meaning Nick, myself, and Patrick, along with Chris, met with the City of Lino Lakes staff, City of Columbus staff, and their consultants. We discussed several items. One was an update on the continued maintenance work that we've been working through. Another was alternative number 4 and the continued board consideration of the implementation. Then we did also discuss the future location of the ditch, the merits of possibly predetermining future on the north side of Main Street of its position to help potentially with the development, to sort of give a potential developer an idea of where it could go. So it was a robust discussion, and I feel like both cities got a good feel for where we're at on the maintenance work, sort of the update on that maintenance or conditions memo that we presented back in the fall.
Yes, President Bradley, I'll add, as Tom said, we had the conditions work that was to be done. Tom updated you at the board meeting on the results of that work, and then we shared it with those municipalities and their technical experts. Also include some discussion about the overtopping standard for their roads and the size of the culverts, and to hear if those entities, in recognizing our work and our standard, if they had any concerns, which they did not verbalize anything of concern for that. Or the hourglass, as it's been put, bigger, smaller culvert. We spoke about that the district cannot petition itself to improve the system, and as Tom noted, all the good maintenance that we've done on it. I'll expand that just a little bit. Patrick, I believe you probably saw it as well, but the permit just went out for the Andal culvert, which is one that Mr. Stowe had come and expressed concern about. It's being replaced in kind, but yeah, it'll be consistent with what we've shared with you in the past.
So this meeting was staff and staff, not city?
Staff to staff,
Right.
yep. We wanted to make sure we had a mutual understanding of what was going on, shared views of landowner concerns, that we're of a consistent understanding, and that if there's anything we're missing from each other, that we have an opportunity to disclose it and move through the work.
John, Mr. President, yes. Well, that's good to hear that you had a meeting on this and to work on it. And I hope meetings like this are continued, that this isn't a one and done, because this is really an area that's got a lot of potential for development. I mean, when you get done with it, and it's all gonna flow down south, side of 14 and west of, what do they call that, 97, Highway 8 now, it's called Lake Drive. And, you know, it's gonna come down that way somewhere or another. And so I think it's, to get those two cities to sit down with you, and I would even suggest you might think about this as being a semi-annual or a quarterly, depending on the rate of the development that begins. And so I encourage the continued work on this because it's going to, it's your pre-meetings, you know.
So, Nick, is there any interest in these cities in trying to improve, we can do improvements, they can improve stormwater?
Yeah.
To address all the standing water through as their own stormwater facilities rather than our ditch?
President Bradley, Board of Managers, I'd say that the cities as well as the district, have we expressed or recognize this as a very challenging area to develop. It is low and flat. The district rules should serve us well in maintaining the floodplain that exists and making sure any structures built are sufficiently elevated above that. There is no, I'll say, hot spot where there's a requirement or an obvious requirement above and beyond the regulations that exist. And it's just a matter of, like a lot of the district, moving through all the pertinent matters to any development, whether that's floodplain or wetlands, Wetland Conservation Act, et cetera, and where the public drainage system may best serve whatever a developer might propose.
My point is, it seems to me there's not much we can do, but there's a lot cities could do with their stormwater conveyances, with their permitting, with their DMP requirements, with their holding ponds, with their regional holding ponds. Any kind of discussion about trying to break out of this swamp we're in?
Yeah. President Bradley, I would say there was lots of discussion about that. But again, whether it's this municipality's rules or the district's, given the landscape, the rules themselves serve to address the condition. And it is sufficient when it's fully met. Moving the ditch to different locations, digging additional ponds, above and beyond the rules may provide some grace, if you will, to the conditions, and that's very likely. It's very common that these areas have large borrow pits to excavate sand and use that to elevate structures. But the rules themselves don't require that, and the modeling would show us that that is not a definitive need.
I don't know if you're hearing what I'm trying to get at.
I think Chris is.
Manager Bradley, I think that maybe a good way of putting it is that the district isn't necessarily hindered by our position or by any of the limits of our authority in trying to solve an issue here. The challenges are the topography that's out there and the extreme measures that would need to be taken in order to make substantial gains in the dryness of properties or the risk of flood on properties. And this, if you looked at a similar topography in a different location where you had, a very high value agricultural land, they might install a massive pumping station. They have some of these down in Nicollet County or some of the other counties down to the south there to get water lifted up into a lake. That's what we're dealing with here is we have limited topography here. So I think that the city is challenged with the same physical barriers that we are, and really it amounts to limitations that are on land development that will occur in the future. They're challenged to their geography. They're going to be limited by the outlet that's there, and they'll find a way to develop the properties, but it might not be to the extent that maybe some may envision the density to be.
So is this similar to what the discussion occurred on Lexington Meadows?
Yeah, I think that there are very similar discussions, adjacent to the district office and any of those developments on 5362. They have similar challenges in that, pool table, flat topography, high water table, and a flat ditch. And so, that's very applicable. And you can see what the solutions were there, digging, mining material to build higher lots, making these, large ponds that sometimes get referred to as lakes. And that's probably the solution that is likely to be incorporated on these properties as well.
If you can take one more moment to take rest, where are we with the trout properties, the shooting? Metro shooting. I mean, the buyer, the last known buyer walked away.
Yes.
Is there anything else alive?
We haven't seen a specific proposal, but I do believe there is another entity lined up to purchase the property, but we haven't had any discussions with them yet.
So, Mr. President, the engineer mentioned Nicollet County. Maybe when we have the summer tour up in the northwest part of the state, we'll be able to go through Marshall and a few other counties up there where that lift stations, as he's talking about for drainage fields, are.
Well, apparently the golf course knows about how to do lift
Yeah,
stations.
yeah, down.
I was thinking maybe we could take the water
And so the cities, if you're,
Columbus and move it to 3, 4, 5.
I would agree with
2,
you.
4, 5.
Yeah, well, I was gonna agree with you that there's plenty of capacity almost. To me, it looks, by the way, the construction of the ditch south of County Road 14 or Main Street, it's in, the problem gets to be above when we get above, north of that, and we get up to the city line up there on Pine Street, and how to move all that water down there, because that's where it's gonna go. It's gonna go that way down into Marchand Lake, sooner or later. And lift stations are not an unreasonable thing to do.
I got us off track again. Go ahead.
That's right. President Bradley, all that sounds like an EAW to me. But moving on from there, Tom, I think you wanted to make a note of Anoka County Ditch 5362, the informational meeting. Do you have some
Yes.
detail there?
Thank you, Nick. Mr. President, Board of Managers, now that you have approved the awarding of the contract, staff is going to notice a information meeting for landowners. We're planning to hold that on Tuesday, January 6th at 6:30 p.m. We're going to try it in the Rice Creek Conference Room. Given the history of attendance to some of these information meetings, we're hoping that it'll not be the one where it's 100 people show up, but given the we're not working in people's backyards, particularly, it's a lot of commercial property, and so we'll see how that goes.
In the past, we, at the very beginning, we used to hold those over at the Lane City Hall. I know it's not in the district, is it?
Right.
But we did hold them over there because the rooms were larger. And the parking was about that. We had more parking than they. Let's hope it's not that many. They'll be in the hallway.
Okay.
That's all I had to add there.
Thank you. President Bradley, do you want to pause for a moment?
Yeah, we do.
Yes, we do.
1, 5.
So,
She said 5%, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's -7. Yes, we do. This is what 5%
No,
is.
no. So you take this number
Yes,
and you multiply it by 1.05,
yes,
and that gives you the 146,310.
okay.
Now, I'll do it again. You'll see
See in the middle?
1, 3, 9, 3, 4, 3 times
Yeah, that was, there's a point. No, you see,
are you changing the number?
Yeah.
There's
Because
sitting
we
trying
said
to-
one- yes.
146,343 is what you,
Yep,
the
yep.
motion's for.
Yep,
Yeah.
that's it.
Do you wanna,
There's an
make that
alternative.
smaller?
There's an alternative which would take off $30. It's how you
No,
calculate.
we'll stick with the motion.
Yeah. So,
Or just,
yeah.
you know,
So-
I thought maybe you were offering an alternative.
No, no, we got it,
We're
we
good.
got it, thank you.
All right,
No, you feel calm now, all right.
President Bradley, if I could proceed.
Please.
So we just covered the ACD 5362 informational meeting. I'll just note that district staff continue to reach out to the Birchwood Village and have communications about Preview Lake Outlet project. The city obviously communicated they have interests in the area of what that outcome looks like, and we will continue to keep you posted. I think that's enough for now. I'll note that at the workshop, we did have some discussion about manager resignation. Staff have not seen or received anything in that regard. I do think it might be reasonable for us to work in coordination with Anoka County, just so there's free flow of communication. Mr. Kolb had made note that this is something he does in other communities, which are his clients. Maybe he could express some of that for the board to be informed.
Sure, that'd be great.
Thank you, Mr. President, managers. And so first, the statute is not super clear on what the requirements are when you have a vacancy of this type, something that occurs before the natural ending of a term. There are timelines and other things that are contained in the statute that all reference back to before the end of the term. But it does say that the appointing authority is responsible to fill vacancies. And so to me, it seems like an appointment's an appointment regardless. And the reason why this is important is because, as the district knows, we were recently involved in litigation. That litigation clarified the municipal nomination process and the timelines involved. What we typically do when we anticipate a term about to end, or when we have a vacancy, or even when we're anticipating a vacancy, is we will send a letter to the appointing authority's administrator, and in the circumstances of a metro district, we'll also copy all of the municipalities within the boundary of that. And we'll indicate that process and the timelines and the requirement that they at least solicit for municipal nominations. And that puts everybody on notice of the process, and it also gives all of the municipalities an opportunity to consider whether they want to put a nomination list together from their own communities. And I think as we're entering into nomination processes now, post Circle Pines litigation, we want to be very clear that we're both transparent and being good assistance to those appointing authorities to make sure that they follow that process correctly.
So
Makes
this
sense.
is new.
I think it'd be new for you,
Yeah.
but I would recommend, because we're anticipating the resignation, we haven't received it yet,
Yeah.
that we assemble a letter like that to the appointing authority board, and we copy all the municipalities so that everybody's aware of what that process is.
Mr.
John, go ahead.
Mr. Kolbe, are you anticipating sending this procedural letter prior to the official notification of resignation, or are you indicating that this is a possibility coming, or how are you going to handle it? Because it seems to me the resignation is what starts the.
Correct. I'm hesitant to do it before we actually receive something official saying
Okay, all right.
I'm resigning.
That's my question.
But we could send it earlier, but again, I don't wanna
So-
assume anything about the timeline that the manager's on.
So I know that Steve intended to talk to them on Monday. We know that Monday Jess was gonna call Reinhardt, Commissioner Reinhardt.
Yeah.
And he was supposed to, touch base. So we can hope that we'll hear something soon. I would say that if we haven't heard anything by, say, tomorrow, that Nick, maybe you should call the administrator for Anoka County and ask, what the status is.
Yeah. President Bradley, I appreciate the thought there. I guess my thought is it's Manager Wagaman, so I would like him, I'm more than happy to call him and ask him if he submitted anything, and if he did, if he'd please copy us on it. If it was verbal.
I did ask him,
Yeah.
talk to him, to make sure that he was going to write a
Okay.
letter.
Yeah,
I asked him to copy you, and he said, "Oh, of course."
okay,
So we can, if we're happy holding back a little bit, we can wait until early next week, say Monday. If not, then contact Steve on Monday, ask for status, and we can figure out how to go from there. But I like the general idea, John. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem with the general idea at all, Mr. President. You might also stay in touch with the Anoka County Administrator in addition to Manager Wagaman.
yeah,
So to make sure that sometimes things get a little lost there, and it really isn't their ballpark more than ours. It's not your
Yep.
responsibility directly.
Right.
So, but we do
Yes.
need to inform Anoka County that
This is
the
what we're doing.
situation.
yeah. President Bradley, Manager Waller, yes, we want to collaborate and make sure that the statute's being followed, and any clarity that we might provide. So I will work with Mr. Kolb, I will work with county and the cities as needed.
So one of the minor silly questions that comes back is, the statute prefers to have two representatives from different watersheds within the watershed. And I have no idea which watershed Blaine is in, and what of the watersheds there are within that.
President Bradley, if need be, we can attach a map of sub-watersheds, or at least make ourselves available to provide that information if a municipality is asking. Yes.
And a clarifying question, John, you said sending a note out to all of the cities?
I would copy them on the letter to the county.
Just to the Anoka County cities?
Correct, the ones that are within that appointing authority.
Yes,
And
okay.
there is a requirement, and it was referenced here in the statute that says the attempt will be made to distribute managers, regionally within the geography of the district.
Right.
We used to do that by these subwater management units, but the Circle Pines case kind of threw that into a little bit of question, only because you're gonna have some municipalities that might be the appropriate area to try to nominate from or to appoint from, but they don't make any nominations, and so
Right.
the board's kind of left without
Right.
an idea of who might be out there and what options might be available to it.
One of the wisest managers on our board advised us that if you're lucky to get 2 people to volunteer, you ought to celebrate.
That's
and-
true.
And not get too hung up on technical boundaries.
It's true.
Thank you, John.
It was about the advisory
And
committee.
CAC. Yeah, CAC, but same point.
Yeah, same.
All right, a few more, President Bradley, if I might. So, Tom, Patrick, and I met with the City of Forest Lake administrator and their engineer, some discussion on JD4. As you may recall, we had collaborated in the past with them on a study of JD4 and future build-out of Forest Lake in that area. And so after the.
This the headwaters area that's in the.
Correct. Different branches of JD4.
CD4, they're in the plan.
But after a
Yeah.
hiatus and a turnover of administrator and such, the city's moving forward there. We had allocated money to that project in the past, and it sounds like it's going to come back. So
The money's gonna come back?
No, the
the,
project.
the project,
Okay.
looking
Two
to
ways I can
So-
take that sentence.
to develop the area with the reasonable foresight for stormwater management.
Good.
Mr. President, the city of Forest Lake has hired Mark Strauss from, who is the clever fellow that came up with hiring the district to do things at Centerville. So I think that'll help out a lot of the problems up there that, they've had going on. It'd be a change in personality, so.
Yep.
And the district is familiar with him, and he's familiar with the district, and this is going to be an area of action.
Yes. More good news. Board of Managers, the district has been awarded the Project of the Year for 2025. This is for the Hanson Park Water Quality and Flood Control Project.
Go.
Minnesota Association of Floodplain Managers is a statewide. We're members of national. I'm a certified floodplain manager. I believe Chris is, and a number of staff at Houston Engineering. But nonetheless, our project won.
Yeah.
So we're quite happy and proud of that. We'll be providing the city of New Brighton with one of those as well, and Chris has one hanging on their wall
Cool.
too.
Posted on Facebook.
Take that, Minnesota Watersheds.
Yeah, it is on the website.
That's right.
All right.
If we can't get one from the Nobel Peace Prize, we'll make one.
Only thing is, as we continue on here, we're nearing the holiday season, so happy holidays to all of you. So,
Thank you, Dick.
yeah, you're welcome.
Same to everyone. Okay, John, your turn.
Yes, the manager's reports. Well, Monday night, I hadn't had enough my fill of government for the day, so I attended the Forest Lake City Council meeting, which was quite interesting. They had a lot of folks there that were testifying about their taxes.
Oh.
So it was a pleasure to be able to say to them, you will not see any, and they were not in favor of of the raises, but it was a pleasure to be able to say that Rice Creek wasn't raising ours. And actually, it might be a smaller decrease because of the increase of people that are paying into the system. They did pass an agreement with the four cities Forest Lake, Hugo, Lino Lakes, and Columbus all have a corner that comes together, the four corners of their cities. It's a county line also between Anoka and Washington County. It's also a street called Elmcrest. So they are talking about developing this into a four-lane or a broader street development between the four of them. Now, this is a long ways away, because I'm going to tell you that there's discussions about what to do with 170th Street in Hugo or 80th Avenue in Lino Lakes, where it attaches to the freeway. That's been going on when Representative Bachman was handling it. She could take care of the St. Croix Bridge, but she couldn't solve this problem, all right, about how this goes with the highway departments. But nevertheless, a memo of at least to sit down the four of them and start to talk. So I reminded them that when they get down the line, that they need to step up to the plate and talk to the district, because you're already in the headwaters plan. And if you're going to make a street that's going to be a major development in all four communities on the Highland area and it crosses JD2, you better have the district participate in that. So I've been volunteering the staff and you, and so to do that in the future. That was so I guess there's no progress is going forward at the moment that I know of about the White Bear Lake situation. You know, they had a meeting with the Met Council and they've got millions of dollars of engineering and fancy studies and there's that's kind of at a standstill at the moment. And the other thing to remind us all of when you and I, Mr. President, were attending the MOD meeting a while back, and Miss Marcy, I think you were there too? Mm-hmm. We listened to the DNR tell us about the new legislation that was passed that said if anybody drills a well or has drilled a well and you harm a lake or somebody else's water, it's not our fault for giving you a permit. So it's the fault of the person who drilled the well, which to me immediately I thought, when they were talking really about potato farmers, I thought, nah, this is the city of White Bear Lake and the lake itself, because the USGS studies from.
So John's solution is to have White Bear Lake sue White Bear Lake?
Yeah, that's it, yeah. Well, the solution is the DNR isn't responsible, is what the legislation did, you know, for any of that. So, that's all I really have to add at this time. So Forest Lake is looking to, and Hugo and Lino Lakes are looking to do something on that corridor, make that street maybe even possibly 4 lanes or something like that.
Okay.
You know, there's a lot of development. It's pretty high land in there. There's some low land down on the Lino Lake side near Hugo. Mm-hmm. But once you get above, and there's some low land on JD4, branch 4 in that area in there. But between Highway 61 and Highway 35 is basically what they're talking about, running that street in the middle. Yep. So this is a long-term project, by the way. This isn't going to happen tomorrow. Knowing 4 cities working together, it'll be beyond my term here in the watershed, that's for sure.
President Bradley, we stand ready.
Thank gosh.
I just want to follow up on the conversation we had about potential lobbyists for Jones Lake, and I do have a contact name. If we're at all interested,
Well,
Okay.
how we proceed with that, I don't know, but
I would say, I'm not so sure how much we need one for that one, because that one will have its own momentum. But if John's serious about trying to tackle changing the WACA law to take out a 25-year limitation, that's a bigger deal. And we needed to have watershed included as a priority. We didn't get that. If we're gonna try to force them into creating it as a priority, it requires, as John's saying, find authors, get it introduced, and get it moving somewhere so that the wetland, so the Minnesota watersheds will be forced to do their job and come in and take that on. We can only force them to do their job if we actually get some momentum, and the best way to get momentum is to have a professional help us.
So, Mr. President, since you brought this topic up, I'll snitch on myself now.
Okay.
Today I had a conversation with Representative Paul Anderson. Now, why that's important is because Representative Anderson was one of the authors of this bill in 2017. Some of the authors on the House side and on the Senate side are still there. Senator Weber's there, for example. He was an author of the bill. Some of them aren't, you know, a couple of the Democrats are gone. But anyways, we'll begin with that process and sending them a copy of the bill and asking them if they would consider looking at it again. So, yes, I don't disagree with you about a professional lobbyist, but I was going to tell you, I got my list out of who's on there and who wasn't, and we, this time is different because, than the 2017-18, because we have official approval in the legislative agenda of the Watershed District Organization, where ditches number 5F.
This sounds like a workshop topic.
But,
So-
there you go. But,
Yeah.
yes,
Could be.
but I'm saying to you, thank you,
Yes?
Yes.
and I don't see it so much in Jones Lake because
No.
that's running.
Maybe. So
Maybe, but-
just to clarify then, and the 18th is a meeting with Fisher?
17th,
17th.
I believe.
You'll let us know.
Nick,
You'll let us know.
Fisher 17th?
I'll be,
I see David's nodding. I can
the
double check.
17th.
Yep.
Do you
All
have
right.
time yet?
Let me get my handy dandy out here.
Is this the Rice Street Caribou Coffee?
Yeah.
Representative Fisher, 10 a.m., Caribou Coffee on Rice Street in Maplewood.
So take your copies of the old bills with you, because Representative Fisher is the chair, there are two chairmen in the House, of course, because of the tie, and he,
Oh, this one is
this
Jones Lake.
is about Jones Lake, but,
It's only Jones Lake.
but you're going to, you might as well have a chance to talk about two things at
Yeah, okay.
once.
Yeah.
Because he's the chairman of the Environmental Committee,
Yeah.
and that bill is going to, if not originate in the Environmental Committee, begin. I've forgotten why it got killed. We got it started, and
My assumption
halfway
is
through
that-
this session, they told us, no, not now, wait.
Yeah, I'm thinking some environmental group got it.
President Bradley,
Okay.
Yeah.
just in regards to Manager Wynett, we continue to reach out and hopefully we'll have more events scheduled, lobbyist or not, so
Yep.
we'll keep the board informed of those.
Great. All right. Happy
I think
holidays.
we're,
Yeah. Maybe we could invite this gentleman to come to our next workshop. The lobbyist.
Oh, it's a woman.
Woman, this next, I'm sorry. My apologies. I don't
We
do
could,
that-
we
I don't
could.
do that often, but it does happen.
Well-
This person.
No, it's,
It's a
And
big
we'll
pitch.
figure out how this works, but,
You know,
okay, I'll give you her
what kind of idea
information.
for a budget or whatever.
Yeah,
we have a lot of talent right here, sir, too.
I know.
There's a lot of experience
So-
sitting at the table. right at the
motion
moment.
to adjourn.
So the last major bill I
Can I do?
lobbied for the full-time employment for me on top of my job. So, yes.
Well, thank God you don't have a job now.
So, Marcy?
that's it.
That's it?
Yep.
I have no updates.
Second.
Seconded. All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Yep, we're done. Thank you much. We got
Yeah.
accomplished today.
Thanks.